There are some things you didn't learn. You remembered them. Before the books, before the breakdowns, before the breathwork and the buzzwords, there was something you carried, quietly, like a hum beneath the noise of this world, a knowing that never needed language. And you've probably called it different names: intuition, imagination, just a feeling. But it was more than that. It was the first whisper of your soul contract, the reason you never quite fit, the reason you noticed what others didn't, the reason you felt things before they happened, the reason stillness never felt empty, just charged. As a child, maybe you had dreams that weren't dreams, places that felt more like reminders, people who looked familiar, but you'd never met them, moments of eerie déjà vu that left you breathless. Or maybe it showed up in the questions you asked, the ache you carried, the deep frustration with how surface this world insisted on being. You were already listening before anyone taught you how. You weren't confused, you weren't broken, you were early. Early to the codes, early to the calling, early to a path no one handed you instructions for, and that's why this path has always felt a little lonely. You were walking to a rhythm only you could hear. But that rhythm? That's not just music, that's memory. The truth is, your soul contract didn't start when life got hard. It started when your soul said yes to coming here, and everything after that was just a series of wake-up calls, some loud, some painful, some disguised as breakdowns, some disguised as silence. But they were all saying the same thing: remember. So let's pause here, not to explain it, but to honor it. That call you felt before you had language? It never left. It's why you're here, listening to this, right now. You didn't stumble into this moment. You answered it. The call, the contract, is waking up. No one wants to look at resistance. We treat it like a warning sign, like something to avoid or push through. But what if resistance was the doorway? What if it wasn't blocking the path, but was the path? The parts of you that say, I'm not ready. I don't know how. I'm scared to let go. Those aren't failures. They're coordinates, buried messages written in the code of your fears. You didn't resist your soul contract. You were coded to remember it through resistance. Because resistance is where the old self grips the tightest. It's where the program fights to stay online. But it's also where truth begins to glitch through. You know that moment when you've had enough? When your body says no before your mouth can speak it? That's not weakness. That's the soul contract breaking through. The pain you keep bumping up against isn't random. It's not punishment. It's the echo of what you agreed to outgrow. Your soul didn't ask for comfort. It asked for clarity. And clarity comes in layers, in discomfort, in patterns that push you, in losses that strip the noise, in choices that don't make sense to anyone else, because the logic of your soul is ancient. Resistance is the soul's way of saying, you're close. Closer than you think. You didn't miss your contract. You just mistook it for fear. You thought, why is this so hard? But the real question was, what truth is trying to find me inside this? Somewhere along the way, you were told the sacred would feel easy. That alignment meant things would just flow. But your deepest soul assignments, they came with friction. Because fire forges clarity, and shadow sharpens truth. You're not off track. You're not falling apart. And no, you're not running out of time. You're just in the part of the story where pressure wakes up the parts you tried to bury. Let me be real with you. This resistance you're feeling, it's not trying to block you. It's trying to show you who you've always been. You're not behind. You're just exhausted from carrying shit that was never yours. You're not broken. You're just shedding a version of you that was built to survive. You're not late. You're just done rushing timelines that were never aligned. This pressure you're feeling, it's not a dead end. It's a turning point. Resistance isn't the enemy. It's the moment your soul stops asking and starts demanding. Your soul didn't just sign a contract. Your body signed it too. Not with words, but with sensations, with reactions, with aches in places you couldn't name. That tightness in your chest when you're about to speak your truth. That heaviness in your limbs when you try to move forward. That sharp edge of anxiety when everything gets quiet. That's not just trauma, that's memory. Your body remembers the agreements your mind was taught to forget. You were taught to override your body, to numb it, to shame it, to dress it up and make it perform. But it never stopped speaking. Every time you froze instead of fought, every time you held your breath to keep the peace, every time your jaw clenched when someone crossed your boundary. The contract was whispering, "This is not who you came here to be." The mind forgets to protect you. The body remembers to awaken you, because the soul is not a cloud floating above your head. It's woven into your tissue. It's stored in your spine. It pulses in the gut before the mind catches up. It trembles in your hands before your voice finds the words. The awakening doesn't begin in the crown. It begins in the bones, in the stomach, in the places you tried to silence. You don't need another vision. You need to listen to your nervous system. You don't need to ascend. You need to return. Because when the body finally feels safe, the soul can speak clearly. And the moment it does, it reminds you, you never forgot the contract. You just had to survive long enough to remember it. You know that moment when something feels off? When your job, your relationships, even your thoughts feel misaligned, but you can't explain why? That's the glitch. And no, it's not just anxiety. It's not laziness. It's not self-sabotage. It's your soul contract trying to get your attention. Glitches aren't accidents. They're sacred interruptions. Little ruptures in the illusion that say, this isn't it. You know it. Stop pretending it is. You might call it a funk, a shift, a fog you can't shake. But what it really is? Your soul tugging the thread of the costume you've been wearing. And once that thread is pulled, the unraveling begins. You weren't meant to sleepwalk through this lifetime. And every time you start to drift off again, the glitch shows up to jolt you back. That friendship that suddenly feels heavy. That job that used to fulfill you but now makes you sick. That version of you that worked, but only in survival mode. Those aren't random. Those are checkpoints. When you start feeling out of place in your own life, don't rush to fix it. Sit in it. Because the discomfort is sacred. It means your contract is surfacing. It means the version of you that fit in is dying. And the version of you that came here with purpose is trying to step forward. Let the glitch guide you. Let it make you question. Let it make you slow down. Because clarity doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers through what no longer works. And in those moments when you feel broken, you're not. You're recalibrating. You're shedding timelines you were never meant to live out. Integration is not the glow up. It's not the part where you show everyone how far you've come, how at peace you are, how your morning rituals are all dialed in. Integration is the quiet process of not going back. Even when going back would feel easier to explain, it's the moment you don't raise your voice even though it would have made you feel more in control. It's when you don't spiral into old loops even though no one is watching. It's you, in the pause, choosing to stay with yourself. Not to impress, not to prove, not to brand your healing like a success story, but because your nervous system now recognizes the difference between presence and pressure. Some of you are exhausted not because you're failing, but because you're still performing your healing, trying to make your softness digestible, trying to package your pain into something noble, trying to prove that your awareness equals arrival. But listen, just because you're self-aware doesn't mean you're ready to be witnessed. And that's okay. You don't have to monetize your milestones. You don't have to narrate your rebirth like it's an origin story for public consumption. You don't even have to make it make sense. Integration means your healing belongs to you now, not your timeline, not your audience, not your past self who needed a redemption arc. It belongs to the you that's finally safe enough to walk away from what you used to explain yourself with. So if it's quiet in your life right now, good. If you're forgetting how to be impressive, good. If you're craving slowness and less stimulation and more breath, even better. You're not falling off, you're falling in. Deeper into alignment, deeper into self-respect, deeper into a rhythm that doesn't require applause to be real. You are not your productivity. You are not your pace. You are not your performance. You are the presence returning to yourself over and over again until it stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling like home. If this spoke to something in you, you're in the right place. Download the companion journal to help you navigate this exact season. Explore the full series on YouTube, How to Be in the In-Between, without collapsing or rushing your becoming. Drop a comment below and tell me, what part of your healing are you finally reclaiming as yours? And remember, you don't have to earn your evolution. Just keep choosing it.